Our popular Todd's Odds segment is brought to you by FanDuel, and it features Todd Fuhrman, our sports betting analyst, former odds maker at Caesars, host of the Bet the Boards podcast, CBS sports analyst. The guy does everything. Everyone wants him. We got him. And he's even wearing his trusty Edmonton Oilers t-shirt. The Oilers have been a Stanley Cup pick for most of the year. However, they are no longer favored to win the Cup after that performance in Game 3. How you feeling about your Oilers right now, Todd Fuhrman?
Not nearly as confident, Jay, as I was on the cusp of the Game 1 overtime victory and knowing how close the Oilers were to taking commanding 2-0 series lead with that improbable goal from Corey Perry in Game 2, which feels like an eternity ago. But look, the luxury that you have of playing a best-of-7 series that isn't the aggregate, you can flush the game that we saw on Monday night, and if the Oilers bounce back, play with a chip on their shoulder, suddenly we're talking about a de facto best-of-3 where the Oilers have a little bit of home ice. But for them to do so, I know we talked about it, play with the lead, show a little bit more poise, and don't take so many penalties in the offensive end. I think this Oilers team knows what they're up against, and you'll get a much more inspired performance against the pesky Panthers in Game 4.
Todd, FanDuel now has odds on where Mitchell Marner and Sam Bennett might end up as unrestricted free agents on July the 1st. The favorite to land Mitchell Marner is your Las Vegas Golden Knights, Todd Fuhrman. The favorite to land Bennett, well, it's the team he's playing on. The favorite is him staying in Florida. Todd, where do you believe that these two will end up?
So we can start with Sam Bennett. I think that Florida is the rightful favorite. Do I believe they should be minus 230 like the price currently being offered at FanDuel? Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, but Bennett is a perfect fit for everything Florida wants to do. He's been a linchpin amid their run to the Cup Finals and winning last year. We're seeing what kind of offensive contributions he's making, and he just exudes that Panthers DNA. So I think Florida's going to do everything they can to keep him down there in Sunrise. Now, Mitchell Marner, a different story, and I was a little bit surprised to see Vegas the favorite. Not that I disagree, but I thought there'd be a little bit more opportunity and upside there to bet the Golden Knights as a logical landing spot. You look at this Vegas roster from top to bottom, and they feel pretty set at the center position, especially on their first, second, and third lines, assuming they'll be able to retain William Karlsson. But where this team needed to generate offense from was the wings. And no disrespect meant to a Pavel Dorofeyev, who's coming of age, Victor Olofsson, who provided a little bit of offensive firepower, and Brett Howden as well. But all of those guys at best are middle six wingers. I think Mitchell Marner, if Vegas can find a way to shoehorn him into the cap, provides the kind of spark that they need up front. And amid all the speculation about Alex Pietrangelo's status, look, Jay, you know there's not a team in the league that loves to use LTIR more to their advantage than my beloved Golden Knights.
Oh, man, they basically wrote the book on it. Finally, Todd, Scotty Scheffler, the heavy favorite to win the United States Open, which begins Thursday right here on TSN. Followed by the defending champion, Bryson DeChambeau. And after that, Rory McIlroy, who's going back to his old driver after a new one let him down at the Canadian Open this past week. So, Todd, are you picking one of the favorites, or is there someone down the field that you feel might be more valuable?
So when we look at the board, Scotty Scheffler, given his current form, deserves to be the short shot. And anytime that number drifts north of 3-1, he's taking money in the betting market. Amongst the favorites, look, I think Bryson DeChambeau offers as much upside as any of those guys there, as long as you're able to grab a price of 7-1 or greater. But I think there's some opportunity to be found a little bit further down the board, and I know it's a guy that I've gravitated towards before in Ludwig Aubert. I think his form that he showed, at least in spurts at the RBC Canadian Open, can pay dividends at Oakmont this weekend with very narrow fairways, as long as you can keep it out of the rough. And a couple other guys that are further down the board that I would keep tabs on, Victor Hovland being one, Joaquin Niemann of Live fame, and maybe a guy that always seems to disappoint and burn money at the betting window for me, and Patrick Cantlay. I think that quartet of golfers is going to have an excellent chance to potentially flirt with an opportunity to win the U.S. Open come Sunday afternoon on Father's Day.
Well, Todd, here's the good news. If you want to hop on one of your private jets and come up to Canada, you can see the United States Open right here on TSN. That's right, Todd. First round action Thursday beginning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. McIlroy will tee off in the morning. 4 Canadians in the field: Nick Taylor, Corey Connors, Mac Hughes, Taylor Pendrith. Our coverage, as I mentioned, begins at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time on TSN 4 and 5. TSN 4 and 5, the two favorite TSNs of Todd Fuhrman.